Hi, welcome to this live conversation. I'm so thrilled to be inviting a guest on shortly. I'm Sheila Botello. I am a self-care strategist, creator of the Season Self-Care app, and host of the Connect with Sheila Botello podcast. My commitment is to help people reconnect to their purpose, elevate their well-being, and build your version of a happy, successful life. And part of the well-being that we need to elevate, I believe, and I've learned through my life, sometimes with some unpleasant lessons along the way, have been the need to elevate my financial ability, mindset, and embodiment. My ability to want and desire more, being okay, being more than okay, being by design. And so today I'm really excited to have a guest coming on who has been steeping in this work for well over a decade and who has become a mentor and friend of mine. And I'm really grateful for the guidance that she has provided to not only do the certain things to help get right with your money and to do the right money activities, but really to look at it as a holistic thing. And so I'm really excited because right now there is something happening that you can take advantage of to really help yourself improve your relationship with money. She'll be joining us shortly. I am going to introduce her right now, and her name is Kate Northrup. She is author of Money a Love Story, the Do Less book, and the Do Less planner that rules my life in a beautiful way, in a very embodied way. And so she is a best-selling author. She's been doing this work for well over a decade. And I'm so excited to invite her on right now. A centerpiece to some of my own practices over the last 6 or 7 years. And I'm really thrilled that you get to meet her today. Kate.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great. I'm so excited that you're here. I see you're all ready for your next event after this.
I am. I'm realizing my light is a little weird though, so I'm going to turn on my ring light and see if that helps.
Yeah, that's okay. I know. I find the lighting gets a little strange if the sun comes in and out where I am.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't quite keep a handle on it. Hi.
It's all good. So good to see you. And I gave a brief introduction to you. And I just really want to say that the work that you've been elevating over time with embodiment and worth and money has been very impactful in my life. And everyone, you're going to get to hear all about what that is, what I've been doing for the last, 7 months, 6 months. Kate's going to get into it. And we have some specific things we're going to talk about today. But I guess really where I want to start is we talk a lot about, well-being in my world. And I know in your world as well. And where does money fit into this? I think so often it gets left out of the conversation. So why don't you speak to that and your enlightenment?
I love that question so much. So what we know is that stress is the number one cause of illness in the body, and money is the number one cause of stress. So if we're not incorporating our relationship with money into our well-being, into our wellness practices, we're actually missing out on a huge root cause issue. We can take all the supplements we want. We can do all the red light therapy we want. We can do all the meditation we want. And that's beautiful. And please do those things. And also, so much of our well-being is impacted by the things that are happening in our daily lives. And we live in a world, the vast majority of us, where it is a material world. Money is part of the deal. You can like it or you can not like it, but you better get right with it because it is happening. And that's probably not, certainly the economy will shift. The way our financial systems work will continue to shift. And the fundamental principle, which is that collectively, as a human species, we're all buying into a pretend system where, and it's not pretend, it's real, a made up system, though it is made up, a made up system in which we trade currency in exchange for what we value. So that's a game we're all playing that is made up, and it impacts our physical bodies and our emotional lives and our mental health so profoundly. And so if we want to be truly well, then getting our relationship with money cleaned up and then getting our money systems cleaned up is the most incredible foundation that makes everything else flourish.
100% agree. And I think sometimes we can go through this conversation about money also and kind of move to the spiritual side and say, well, but really, how spiritual is money? And now we see what's happening in the world right now that is very much let's face it, religion is at the heart of this serious conflicts, many serious conflicts going on in the world. And so here we're talking about money. It seems so disconnected, but really is it? Because I'd love to hear you share about your thoughts on what is the soul of money? What is possible with it when we get right with it?
I love that question. And I also love that book by Lynn Twist. So just shout out to Lynn Twist. One of the amazing matriarchs of the money healing world. So money is neutral. Money is neutral. It's not bad. It's not good. But it does fertilize whatever it falls on. So if you have a substrate of wellness and consciousness and love, and you add money to that equation, you're going to get more wellness, consciousness, love, generosity. But if you add money to a situation of drama, pressure, pain, abuse, addiction, you're just going to get more of that. So money is fertilizer, just like the fertilizer you put on your plants is neutral. It's right. It will grow. If you have a thorn bush, it will grow a thorn bush. If you have a bougainvillea, it will grow a bougainvillea, right? And so what we want to do is really look at what seeds am I planting? Because the money that you eventually add, we think like, oh, the solution to my money problems is making more money. And while that may be the case in some circumstances, like if you're living in a circumstance where you can't pay your rent, you don't have shelter, you don't have food, absolutely, making more money is going to help. So I'm not saying that. However, once you have your basic needs met, just adding more money is not going to fix your money problems. Doesn't mean you can't add more money. Doesn't mean you shouldn't add more money. Doesn't mean I can't teach you how to make more money. But it does mean that before you just go ahead and add more money, you need to clean up the soil. Make sure you've planted the correct seeds. And make sure that you're fertilizing what you actually want to grow as opposed to what you don't want to grow. And from a spiritual perspective, you know, the soul of money is just a stand-in for what we value. And what we value is really based in our heart. And I can't think of anything more spiritual than what matters to us, that what makes our hearts sing, what makes our hearts expand, what really brings us to tears in a beautiful way. And so if we want to be able to be agents of change in the world and agents of peace, which is so desperately needed right now, we got to get right with our money, because money stress takes up our precious bandwidth and prevents us from being able to show up in the way that's our potential to contribute to global solutions.
That is so well said. And I've had that experience myself where, well, those several experiences, leaning on the spiritual side and saying, oh no, I don't have to want more. I can just be grateful for what I have. And I've leaned into more so the gratitude, absolutely, for the life I have, and that I get to have more. And it's kind of like how Lizzo sings, you know, I'm going to shine, everybody's going to shine, right? Like the more we have, the more we want to share with others. And then also the earning more money. Like this year in particular, I've had so much more revenue come into my business, and some things that I've actually, even though I knew intellectually, okay, these things, it's not going to change it.
I was surprised to see, oh, okay, certain things haven't changed. Interesting. So we have to go deeper into the work, right? You think, I know, I'm enlightened. And then it's like, no, actually, there's just more layers to the onion we need to unpeel. And so what has really been helpful for me has been being part of the relaxed money community, as after having been part of the beautiful Origin Empress community that you put together 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And it's been a journey. And so talk to me a bit about why a community is so valuable when we are peeling back the layers, things like our own money story and healing.
Yeah. So the lie of separation and the lie of scarcity are sisters. The lie of scarcity says that there's not enough to go around. And so therefore, if I have more, automatically somebody has less, or I need to hoard resources because there's not enough to go around. Both of those are lies. You can learn more about that. The data just shows us that there are enough resources on the planet for everyone to live a good life. They are poorly distributed. So that's true. And there's enough. There's enough. There's a wonderful book called The Sum of Us by Heather McGee that really highlights the most current data on this. And so the lie of separation says that you and I are totally separate. And what happens to me does not impact you, and what happens to you does not impact me. And then when you connect that with the lie of scarcity, it says, in fact, what happens to you takes away from what happens to me, or what happens to me takes away from you. Both of those are lies. And on the level of the nervous system, which is the system that is the foundation of every physiological system in our body, our digestive issues are largely caused by our nervous system. Our mental health issues are largely caused by our nervous system. Our endocrine issues, like all the things, point back to the nervous system. And when I realized that this was connected to the way we interact with money, it was so mind-blowing and also so obvious. And so from a community perspective, why is it so important to be in community while we're peeling back these layers? Because the wounding that happens around our relationship with money happens in community. Anything that's going on with you with money is happening with another human on the other side, because money is an exchange system. So there's another human being with a heart, with a nervous system, who's made up, 96% water. Like they're also an energetic being. That's happening. That is always going to be part of any interaction you have with money, is at least one other human being and their mind, heart, emotions, and body. And so when it comes to money, because our wounding has happened in relationship, our healing needs to happen in relationship, where we can rewire our bodies that it is safe to heal, that it is safe to shine, that it is safe to be powerful, that it's safe to be vulnerable. And so doing that in community, it literally changes your physiology, where now you can feel safe to expand, where before the wounding is, it is not safe to expand. And our nervous systems are wired to keep us safe. And so when we come up on the edge of expansion, unless we are actively doing something about it, we will automatically collapse or contract, and we won't be able to reach our goals. And we think it's because we don't have the right business strategy, or it's because we came from the wrong family, or it's because of what the government is doing. And certainly those things are factors, but the thing we have the most control over, which thank goodness is also the thing that's the most powerful, is our nervous system. And so we can heal it faster in community because of co-regulation and the fact that our nervous systems know that separation is a lie. And so if one person in the room, even if that room is virtual, if one person is holding the thermostat for expansion and power and possibility and relaxation, all the nervous systems can meet that thermostat setting, and the healing becomes easier and more automatic.
And you hold that thermostat so well for for the people in your sphere. I've seen it, and I've witnessed you along your journey over the last number of years also expand. And it's been very inspirational for me. And I know so many in the community as well. So I'm celebrating that. And I think that's the key. Like in the group too, is so much celebration for the little things and the big things. Because really, isn't it true that it's really a whole bunch of little things over time that make a huge impact? Now, you talked about co-regulation in a group, and I felt that, and I felt that as a parent with my kiddos too. To this day, they tell me when I'm having a great day, they feel it, and if I'm having an off day, they feel it. And so they know if they need to be uplifted, they will come to me if they're having not a great day, right? Like, so I'm grateful, and they've verbalized that to me, which is cool. They're teens, so they have the words. Now, one thing that I think a lot of us hold ourselves back with is this idea that, well, but it's too late. I've had this whole life and I've let myself down so many times over the years. And, I'm in my 51st year, and I will tell
you are such a body.
Thank you. It is a rebirth. Okay. Like we are starting over, but with all the things that we wish our younger selves knew. So my invitation for everyone is that it's never too late. Doesn't matter your age. It's a number. You get to glean the beautiful things. But the co-regulation piece, like what would you say to someone who really needs to rebuild their level of self-trust? Because I just last week had an epiphany about self-trust and how that was the block for me to move forward in certain areas of my life. Maybe speak to that a bit.
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to say in terms of the time thing, it's totally an illusion. We know that our chronological age can be completely different than our biological age. For example, I just did a test of my biological age. It's 27.7 years. It's like, great. That's amazing. And I love the story of Louise Hay, who didn't found Hay House Publishing until she was in her 60s. And this is a woman who came from a background of abuse, was not thriving in her early years at all, financially or otherwise. And she was able to create an empire after the age of 60. When I met Louise, she was in her 70s. She picked me up at a hotel in a Rolls Royce. And she was such a freaking badass, and she knew the healing that she had done to get to that place. And it didn't matter when it happened. Right. So, okay. Now, in terms of self-trust and co-regulation, one of the things that we teach and practice, because it takes practice, this stuff is all different than how we were conditioned. And so one of the things my program is a year, because I know that this is not a quick fix. This is a repatterning, and the nervous system work is subtle and it takes some time. So yes, you can absolutely have quantum shifts. People have them all the time, and slow is fast when it comes to this level of work. And so self-trust, what we practice is the affirmation that when something happens for somebody else, we allow that to feel in our bodies as though it is happening for us, because on some level, at the level of unity consciousness, it is. I recently had a girlfriend, two girlfriends actually. They're having a very different experience of young motherhood than I had. This one friend is just like in total motherhood bliss in the first year of her son's life. And it's so glorious to witness her. And I could look at that as a cranky older woman, older than her. I'm not, I don't identify as an older woman, but I'm older than her. And be like, oh, must be nice for you. He, me, right? I could be all jaded and like all bitter about it. Or I can look at her and literally receive the feeling in my body that she is having. And it goes back, it does bring me to tears. When I do that, it literally heals me at the age of 33 when I was struggling, because she and I are not separate. We are both women mothering, and our nervous system this is the data. we experience things, our mirror neurons and the vagus nerve, we experience things that other people are experiencing who we identify with as though we are experiencing them ourselves. Now, usually the data is based on how that happens from a trauma perspective, and we can see how that's playing out in the world right now. However, it can also work from a healing perspective, because if something's going to imprint my nervous system with trauma, it can also imprint my nervous system with healing. And so if somebody else in the group is experiencing self-trust, maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody else, right? Maybe it's Sheila. Then you can learn to receive that as your experience, and it upgrades you and your self-trust.
Oh, yeah. So let's everyone take that in. Right? It makes me just take that deep breath, because I've seen it happen. I've experienced it. I've felt it. And so as we're having this conversation, it opens up so many questions for people who are now making connections in their own life. And so, Kate, you've just come through a beautiful 3-day workshop called Flow. Some of you may have been in on it. It's beautiful. I love going back to listen to the replays again, even though I've been following you for a while. There's always something new and a new level.
There's always new stuff. I'm always reading and researching and practicing and learning. And so it's always new every time.
It is. And it's, even if I were to hear the same thing, I'm receiving it on a new level, right? I'm a new person, right? As Joe Dispenza says, like, we're in the same place. Everything looks the same, but we're on a different trajectory, right? Yeah. Whoa. And so everyone, there is this beautiful opening to the program that I've been in since May called Relaxed Money. The doors just opened yesterday. And Kate, why don't you maybe just give us a rundown of what it is, how it works?
Awesome. Yeah. So Relaxed Money is a program that helps you heal your relationship with money on the level of the nervous system. So you become a tuning fork for abundance, on the level of your thoughts and beliefs, on the level of your emotions, and on the level of your energetics. And then on that strong foundation substrate, we add in making more money, getting really clear on your spending plan, aligning your expenses with your values, working on dissolving any debt, or what I call invoices for blessings already received, and really getting the systems dialed in so you can add money on a healing or a healthy foundation. And so it's taught over 14 live interactive modules, but then folks have access to those modules for a year. The reason I do say it's for a year is because I want people to actually go through the content. And in my experience, if you have access forever, you will never do it. And this work will not help you if you don't do it. So I give plenty of time. A year is more than enough time, but you have a year. And then during that year that you can either go through the content live or revisit it, listen to it on our private podcast, watch the videos, however you want to do it, read the transcript. You also have access to monthly live group coaching calls and monthly nervous system healing calls with our resident nervous system healing expert. So throughout the process, we're there to support you in implementation and in integration, and then deeper and deeper layers of nervous system healing and resonance. And we start with the inner work, and then we move to the outer work, so you can really trust yourself with money, feel confident with money, feel neutral and even positive about money, have more healthy money conversations in your marriage or your relationship, pass down a healthy money lineage to your children, and so much more.
It's been incredible. And I would say, it's the material is nothing like what you will hear anywhere else. And you may have found this just in this conversation. This is like a tiny little snippet. This is an amuse-bouche for what is to come in Relaxed Money. And it is really also about the co-regulating in the elevation process, the letting go, the shedding the old stories with all of the amazing people who are in this group. And also the nervous system support we get with Sarah Tacey has been outstanding. My husband has Yeah, he started doing that with me. He's tried to do some, but it's hard because it's like a lot of open space at some points.
Yeah.
But the way she's using a teaching model through it is pretty interesting. But already it's opened up some pathways, right? So, because we have so much baggage on our back and we need to release it. And that's how we can open and expand to allow the good stuff in that we really, really want. And so I appreciate you creating such a beautiful container. It is so well worth what you are charging for it. And right now, everyone, I do have a special link I will be having posted below this and in other places. And I have some beautiful bonuses to go along with it. One of them is something I've been doing for literally 2.5 years, which is it's a special guided meditation, 40-day guided meditation that I created that's in my Season Self-Care app, or it's going to be in my Season Self-Care app, that you're going to get free access to if you decide to join Relaxed Money with me. I just feel like it has opened up and expanded even more because it's the daily practice, those little things over time of not just changing our mind, but feeling into it. And so thank you for guiding me and the rest of the group in these practices and using your vulnerable story, being so transparent. That's one thing we can always count on with you, Kate, is the transparency. Like you, Mike, whatever's happening, you're not like hiding, like you're, yes, working through things before you share, but like you're sharing the lessons because that's your work in this world. And I appreciate it so much. So I'm so grateful that you were able to make the time here. I know you've got another flow special workshop today. So everyone, go follow Kate if you don't already, and go watch today it's in 35 minutes, where she's going to go into more depth about Relaxed Money and share so much more good stuff that you can take away and start using today. So Kate, thank you. I appreciate you more than words can say. Like I will end with, in Origin, your membership, I walked through some significant losses of my mother and my father and shedding old stories with that. And we had a very tearful goodbye at the end of that. That was unexpected for me. But now I am walking with you as I shed some old stories and do a lot of healing around my money that I really didn't even know needed to be healed. So thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Sheila. I adore you. Thank you for the honor of chatting with you and your community today. I love having you in my world, and I'm so grateful.
I can't wait to see you in February.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun. All right, thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here, everyone. Have a great day.